the question? Do I
Yeah.
need to
Just
say,
write
like,
it in
a
the
hi or
question.
anything?
Because I'll do like an actual live read on the podcast, and so I guess you won't really hear my intro into what the question's going to be. But since I'm on with you, I'll just ask the question. You can just go, and then I'll edit it in there.
Okay, perfect.
Amanda, tell us, what is functional sports medicine?
That's a great question. So functional sports medicine is a new type of medicine. And so I think to really understand it, we have to look at the two separately and then how they come together. So functional medicine is just a different way of looking at medicine where we get to the root cause of disease. So rather than just treating symptoms, we try to find out what's actually causing your symptoms. And it really helps to optimize performance when it comes to an athlete. I'll get to that here in a moment. And when we look at functional medicine, we also look at what are called dysfunctions. And that's kind of this in-between state between actual disease and health. And so a lot of times patients or athletes will have symptoms and they're not really a disease. And so they don't kind of get answers or a diagnosis and aren't sure what to do. And then sports medicine, I'm primary care sports medicine. So it's basically just any non-operative orthopedic care. And so it includes injections, ultrasounds, exercise programs for coming back from injuries, stress fractures. Sports nutrition is also grouped in there. And so when the two come together, it's really just optimizing performance by looking for root causes or things that are blocking performance. So if athletes sometimes will even have vague symptoms, they're just feeling off. That's very hard to just be like, oh, well, here's what's wrong with you. And so I like to dig deeper, and it takes an extensive history. Usually first visit with a patient that's going through the full functional medicine models about 90 minutes. So much longer than your typical visit with a physician. And so digging deep, finding those causes and then addressing them. And the thing too, athletes always want a quick answer and to get out there as quickly as they can. But sometimes this medicine takes time. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to prevent you from playing or getting out there and doing what you love. So at the end of the day, I want athletes to not only work hard and train hard, but also do it in a very smart way so that they can maximize their performance and also their life.
Okay. Question 2. By the way, do you want me to refer to you as Amanda or Dr. Sadler, or does it matter?
I think you need to be Dr. Sadler.
Dr. Sadler.
Dr. Sadler? Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Sadler, do I need to take supplements as an athlete?
That is a great question, Tyler. So the very short answer is most likely yes. The longer answer just brings in a couple other questions, like what supplements are we talking about? How long are you wanting to take them? What dosage? And so, there's a lot of myths about supplements. The first thing I talk to my patients about is, when we just look at the word supplement, it's meant to be short term. And so some people hear about a supplement that, they've heard on social media, perhaps maybe another friend or athlete's taking it and they start taking it and then they take another one. And before they know it, they're taking 10 things. You have no idea how they interact with each other, if they're even helping. And so, supplements, first of all, are short term. You can apply them, take them, and then there's got to be an endpoint to them. And then when we look at all different supplements, especially from an athlete's perspective, you do need some. You need some extra nutrients. You need some extra macronutrients, which is your carbs, your proteins, your fats. And so we want you to be efficient in using those. And a lot of physicians or other people will say, if you take vitamins or supplements, it's just a waste of money. You kind of pee them out. What a waste. Well, what your body doesn't need, you do essentially pee out, but what you need, you use. And so my goal is with some specialty tests to find out actually what you need. If you're depleted in any of these things, what dosage you need, so we can maximize your health and your wellness. So you get what you need, you don't get any extra, you're not putting any extra stress on your body. And when you get to a point that you need to stop those, you're able to.
All right, question 3. By the way, is this gait analysis? Is that how you say it?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question
practicing with my husband last night. He was thinking like a gate, GATE. And I'm like, no. So just like, so that if that helps, maybe gate, you walk through the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of tells us maybe we need to work on that going forward to explain that pretty well.
Okay. Dr. Sadler, what's gait analysis and why is it important?
So gait analysis is looking at how a person walks or runs, looking at their biomechanics. And so when it comes to an athlete, some people don't consider themselves running, but essentially in any sport you do, there's some type of running involved. And so what I do is you can either use it for performance enhancement, so making your running form more efficient. Or if you're having injuries, I can look at from a biomechanical standpoint and make improvements to where you're less injury prone and we can get you over the hump of those injuries. In my clinic, I use a combination of things. I use video analysis. I also do a lot of just exercises and stretches beforehand to look at your stability, at your flexibility, at your what's called your mobility. And then I use a motorless treadmill. So you essentially become the motor. And so that really lets me see any flaws or deficits in your stride, which is what's considered your when you're running, your stride is if a left leg and a right leg goes, that's a stride cycle. And so just making sure that you're balanced. And so a lot goes into it. And then what goes home with the patient is some tips on what they can do to practice on their form, some stretching, some strengthening exercises, and just really get them running as fast and efficiently as possible.
All right. Question 4. Dr. Sadler, why is gut health and why is it important to athletes of all ages? Should that say what is gut health?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start over again. Dr. Sadler, what's gut health and why is it important to athletes of all ages?
Another really great question there, Tyler. So your gut health is basically anything that has to do with your GI system. It's how I got into functional medicine, had a lot of GI issues and that were hampering my performance. Once I got those dialed in, my performance really shot up. And so it's a little bit of an entry point for me with a lot of my athletes. Another reason that it's an entry point is a lot of times when the gut's not healthy, it doesn't speak as loud as other parts of your body. So your knee can speak really loudly. You hurt your knee and it's going to scream out pretty loud. We call the gut silent symptoms. And so sometimes it takes a long time for those to crop up. But if your gut's not working well as an athlete, you're not able to absorb your nutrients and your calories, which we need for energy and to make your body function properly. The other thing a lot of people don't know is your gut is the biggest or largest immune organ in the body. And so when our gut's not healthy, our immune system isn't healthy. Especially now, with COVID, a lot of people get, talk about the immune system. And when it comes to illness, of course, we don't want athletes, active people getting recurrent illnesses that could hamper training or even prevent them from going to a competition. But a piece of the immune system we forget about a lot is that it actually helps us create resiliency and become a stronger athlete because we want to adapt to our training load. And the immune system is what allows us to do that. It repairs injuries, muscles, tendons, ligaments, all of those things that at the end of the day make us a faster, stronger, healthier athlete.
All right, question 5. Dr. Sadler, what's the most important facts everyone should know about concussions?
Concussions. Wow, this is a big one. So when it comes to concussions, the first thing I, counsel parents and patients on is that it is a brain injury. Sometimes we kind of get that, but when I say it's a traumatic brain injury, we need to take care of your brain. It hits a little bit differently. And so when you have a concussion, you have inflammation in your brain, and we need to make sure that's taken care of. And some of that inflammation can cause downstream effects, meaning it can cause symptoms for a long time. A lot of studies show it can cause other problems in other parts of your body because your brain's kind of the master control center for up to a year afterwards. And so I really like to focus on getting inflammation down and making sure athletes are ready to not just return to play, which we have a lot of protocols for that, but they're actually ready to return to different levels of activity and actual competition. When you've had one concussion, you're more likely to have another one, and you're also more likely to have some injuries. And so if we can take care of those things up front, then you're more likely to have a healthier, longer athletic career.
That's it. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Sadler.
All right. Was that good? Did you understand everything?
That was great. No, Thank you so much for doing this, and thanks to Tish for setting it up.